The 1960s and the Deep South were defining years. In Birmingham, Alabama, segregation was not just custom, it was law. It shaped where you learned, where you worked, where you lived. It even tried to define your worth. But in the heart of that divided city stood our new Pilgrim Baptist Church. It was more than a sanctuary, a refuge, a meeting place, and one of the training grounds for courage. These are our untold stories, told now in our own voices.
I was 13 years old in the 8th grade at West Center Street Elementary School, and my two sisters were at Allman High School. Even though I was 13 years old, I knew that we had problems here in Birmingham. I knew that.
Before marches filled the streets, segregation filled everyday life. Children learned which doors were colored, which doors were white. Parents carried the quiet weight of injustice. Dignity had to be defended daily, but every restriction planted something deeper. Pain was turning into purpose.
Well, as a youth, I had the privilege of learning about life in some good ways, many good ways, and some down and not so good ways.
And growing up during that time was crucial because there was the segregation was going on, and we were afraid a lot.
Even though at my age, going to and from the stores and stuff, all I saw was black, no, colored and white. Colored was very nasty. The white was clean and pretty. So
I knew that I was being denied opportunities to be educated the way we should have been educated. I knew that we couldn't go to department stores or to a movie theater or even to a public park.
Those experiences did not silence this church. They awakened it. Purpose became action. Mass meetings gathered believers. Boycotts were organized, sit-ins were planned, children marched. New Pilgrim prayed together, and then moved together. Faith was not passive. It stepped into the streets.
And I'm a member of the New Pilgrim Baptist Church. That's where I began working with the civil rights.
Because the Pilgrim Church was like the hub for strategizing. They would come and meet there. I would be there. They would plan the meetings and the marches. And
I started joining the mass movement and the protest that was going on in Birmingham. I served at two churches here in Birmingham, First Baptist Church in Powderly, and New Pilgrim Baptist Church, which this pastor, Nelson Smith, he was so instrumental. And the
teachers opened the windows to let us out so we can go and march. We used to march when we could. We prayed.
And when injustice pushed back with threats, intimidation, even violence, the commitment only grew stronger. Because once you decide your children deserve better, there is no turning back.
Movement. I started joining the mass movement and the protest that was going on in Birmingham. The mass meeting was very, very important. I really got in the labor part of the movement.
So my two sisters and I joined the movement. We participated in a lot of demonstrations and a lot of picketing, a lot of church going to a lot of the mass meetings with our mother, and decided we wanted to go to jail because that was the only way that we could get our freedom and to get segregation laws just totally dismantled in the state of Alabama. So we went to jail several times.
And I would deliver messages to the ministers of the community because their phones were tapped. And at that time, I throwed the Birmingham World and the Birmingham News. And I would put messages that was delivered to me when they dropped my papers off, put it into all the ministers, all who was going to attend the meeting. And as
Sunday morning in September, playing on the bus in the back of the church when we heard this horrendous explosion. Not realizing what had happened, only to find out about 30 minutes or an hour later that someone came running in the church saying that bomb went off at 16th Street Baptist Church, and 4 children had already been killed.
Bombings shook this city. Fire hoses and police dogs filled television screens. The nation saw chaos, but we saw neighbors, friends, and church members.
And I would stand watch with my father in the neighborhood because we stood between 2 railroad tracks. Our community was in between 2 sets of railroad tracks. And at that time, they were threatening bombing. So all the old veterans that wasn't afraid to stand watch over the neighborhood. And I stood watch with my father many nights because
I can remember seeing the Bull Corner riding in his armored tank, just patrolling with the police cars, the fire wagons, and everything. And as a child,
my uncle at that time, he did not want to lose his job. So my aunt marched. In fact, she went to jail, stayed 5 days. Roberta Brunson, behind Bull Corner.
Every time you turn around, the white folks are after us.
And I had a friend named Donald Raspberry who allegedly broke into this white man's house to steal money that he was leaving for his sister. He was shot and killed by this man because he just wanted to kill a nigger. We found that out later when the FBI reopened the cases, and for years.
What was meant to stop the movement spread it. Because Birmingham was the most segregated city, Birmingham was the perfect place to demonstrate to the world what segregation in America looked like. It became a catalyst for change in the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
Oh, freedom.
With the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the South was reluctant to recognize full rights of Black citizens. Leaders realized, although we had rights, we had no real power. The road led to Selma. On the Edmund Pettus Bridge, peaceful marchers were met with violence, but they marched anyway.
And the 3 times we tried to go over the bridge, we was able to go, but they were able to go the 3rd time. The first time was March the 7th. We tried to go, but we were brutally attacked by the policemen, tear gas, the horses, billy clubs. We weren't able to go, so we had to turn around and go back to the church. The second time, we had the same experience. But the 3rd time, they were able to go over the bridge. But I wasn't, because my grandmother wouldn't let me go that Sunday. But
this trek would require multiple overnight stays, because along the way the marchers needed the opportunity to rest, recoup, receive medical treatments, because the day's journeys were extremely long, upon 4 campsites that would be needed. Black property owners stepped in at campsite number 1, which was provided by Mr. David Hall.
I am Velda Stover Kennedy, the proud granddaughter of David Hall and Cheney Hall. So my granddaddy spoke up and he said, I own 80 acres of land. You are welcome to camp on my farm. My grandfather had numerous death threats. His bank account was closed. He could no longer farm because he could no longer do business at the bank. He did not allow my mother and her siblings to come during that time because he feared that they would be harmed. He did not fear for his own life.
I was living in Lowndes County in Benton with my grandmother, who allowed me and my aunt to join and support the marches between sites number 1 and site 2. That's between Benton and Whitehall. We had the opportunity to meet with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee leaders, who were led by Stokely Carmichael and Bob Matz, and some others. We were asked to distribute voter education flyers and other materials to all. Me and my aunt rejoined the march at campsite number 4, the City of St. Jude's.
Their courage helped lead to the Voting Rights Act of 1965, yet the cost was heavy. Many people were beaten, even killed, and families were displaced. The struggle continued.
And we were just protesting that we wanted to do that. It's amazing that we could not go to the bowling alley, but we could go and put coins in their laundromat machines where they could make money. And
once they found out your father or your parents or any relatives that participated in the civil rights, you earned all F's the first 6 weeks. So that made you ineligible to do a lot of things. And it was sad, man. It was sad, yeah.
The conclusion of the rally at the state capitol building, Black families attempted to try to go back and resume their regular daily lives. However, many of us then faced the most difficult and trying experiences we had ever expected to encounter. Any Black family and or family member that lived on a white property owner's land in Lowndes County and was deemed to have participated in or given any assistance to the marches along the way were issued horrible eviction notices and was forced to vacate the properties and to leave the county. This affected my family, along with approximately 40 other families across the county. Many of these families were now left homeless, and they had no resources to turn to.
And I look back at it now and say, you know, it was nobody but God, nobody but Him and the prayers of everybody here at church and my mom and dad that brought us through that.
Segregation tried to define this community. Faith transformed it. Oppression sparked organizing. Organizing fueled protest. Protest led to legislation. Legislation opened doors. And through it all, New Pilgrim Baptist Church stood firm, not watching history, but shaping it. These are our stories. These aren't just civil rights stories. They are the echoes of people who refuse to break. Our stories, once untold, now told.
Help your children.
My name is Annie B. Livingston, and I'm a member of the New Pilgrim Baptist Church.
My name is Jim Goodwin. I'm a deacon here at New Pilgrim.
Carolyn Caffey Brooks.
Good morning, I'm Louise Webb.
My name is Harvey Lee Henley Jr.
My name is Leroy Smith Jr.
My name is Deborah Sanders Smith.
My name is Jerry Cunningham.
My name is Carol Denard Johnson.
I'm Dolores McCurdy Custer.
I am Belda Stover Kennedy.
My name is Charles Bowles.
My name is John Michael Simpson.
I'm Deacon David Cunningham.
And I know heart.